Hi, everyone. Today we have Grant Nerren from Mississippi State. And before I started recording, I just said, just based on this picture, I already want to go. So this is beautiful. Thank you for being with us, Grant. I'm excited to learn more about Mississippi State today. So I'll let you take it away.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having us. So just going to kind of start off by welcoming you all to Mississippi State and kind of giving you some background knowledge on kind of who we are and what we do for you guys. So first, just kind of give you some foundations of what you can expect from Mississippi State. So we were actually founded in 1878 as Mississippi A&M. A&M standing for agriculture and mechanics. So those are our strong suits and those are where our roots are. Jokes. We have come a long way since then, and we've actually become one of the most comprehensive universities within the Southeastern Conference. And so we've acquired a ton of more academic colleges that we'll hit on throughout this presentation and more majors that we'll hit on as well. We are a very large campus. We're actually the largest campus in the state of Mississippi. Have to have that for the agricultural reasons. And so we have 4,200 acres worth of campus, and we're we're on the brink of 23,000 students on our campus. So some students ask about, Southeastern Conference, and you're a fairly large school, probably larger than anticipated if you're looking at a Mississippi school. And so some students ask about what the student to faculty ratio is and what that looks like. And so we're actually a 20-to-1 student faculty ratio. And so your average class size for incoming freshmen is about 45 students. So you get the feeling of being a part of a bigger picture, big conference with the rah-rah and different things like that. But you also get the flip side of that, to where you have faculty and staff that are in your court, know you by name, and you know your peers as well. So it's kind of like the best of both, we like to say. So you can have both of those experiences that you might be looking for there. Okay, so next, what I had mentioned, we're going to walk through some of our different academic colleges that we offer. So each of these that you see displayed are our different academic colleges that host various different majors throughout. I won't go through all of them because we would be here all evening, but I will highlight kind of our strong suits that you all can learn a little bit more about. So first, we do have our College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. One of the most common misconceptions is that individuals think if you're getting a degree in agriculture, you're going to be a farmer. That is incorrect. You do not have to go to school to be a farmer, unfortunately. But you have to think a little bit deeper than that. You have to think of things like agribusiness, ag engineering, agronomy, animal dairy science, things of those nature. So those are more of the agricultural components of that academic college. And then we also have the life sciences components. So you're looking at your biochemistry. You have your food science and nutrition. Fashion design and merchandising is actually a program that we have within this academic college. So there's a lot of opportunities there. Our university president, Dr. Keenum, actually received all three of his degree programs from his bachelor's, master's, and doctorate from this academic college. Very passionate about agriculture. He's actually served all of you prior to becoming as our university president. He was the U.S. Undersecretary for Agriculture. Wow. So he served all of us in every capacity. We all like food. Hopefully it's not going anywhere. But there is a lot of opportunity there. They also have 100% job placement of all of their graduates from this academic college. So if you're looking for a good return on investment, this might be it. Moving on, we have our College of Architecture, Art, and Design. So this is a very unique academic college to us. We are actually the only accredited school of architecture in the state of Mississippi. It is a 5-year program to where you're doing 4 years of more of your studio-based work, and then your 5th year is your urban development. So you do have a lot of portfolios that are required and different things of that nature. So it is very hands-on, very strategic, and our students actually graduate and are certified architects. So you don't seek your accreditation. Once you graduate, you actually graduate with us. So that's something that's pretty unique there. Within this academic college, we also have interior design and building construction science. So we are actually one of only 2 programs in the country for a hands-on building construction science program. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely encourage you guys to just kind of start exploring that avenue there. All of these programs within this academic college are studio-based. So we definitely, you're never in a lecture hall listening one-on-one, falling asleep after lunch. It's definitely more hands-on and in your own space, and definitely more interpersonal communication with you and your professors. Next, we have our College of Arts and Sciences. This is by far the most eclectic college that we have on campus. It houses the most majors. I like to call it the ology family. So it has everything from zoology, biology, anything you can think of with ology at the end of it. But in addition to those different majors, we have anthropology, economics, criminology, communication with concentrations in public relations, broadcasting, geosciences, just to name a few. And one I really like to talk about is meteorology. We are actually, half of the nation's meteorologists actually get some form of accreditation from Mississippi State. We have a running joke that if they get the weather wrong, they must have gone somewhere else. But there really is some good opportunities for students there just to get involved and see all the different opportunities and very eclectic different majors throughout. Within the College of Arts and Sciences, we have a health professions resource center. So any student interested in basically trying to pursue a postgraduate program, whether it's medical school, pharmacy, anything of that nature, we have a resource center right there on campus that is free to students that will partner them basically with a mentor that helps make them the most marketable candidate for any postgraduate programs they're looking at, whether it's in the state of Mississippi or out of state. So that's something we like to tell students. It's a free resource, definitely take advantage of. They actually have a 93% success rate of placing students their first attempt. So we definitely encourage students to utilize that. Next, we have our College of Business. Our College of Business is just like any other. I feel like you can go to almost any school and find a College of Business, and you have your traditional accounting, finance, marketing, things of that nature. But some programs that kind of set us apart, I think, from other institutions as far as business goes is one being our PGM, Professional Golf Management Program. There's only 18 programs in the entire country, and we are actually one of those. And so these are not the individuals that are coming to run your local golf courses and things like that. You have to think a little bit higher, think the master's level, and they're the ones putting on the show for all of that. So it's really cool opportunity for students. We also have an international business degree program. It is a 5-year program that it does require a supplemental application, and you can receive 2 bachelor's degrees within those 5 years. The first bachelor's degree is in any area of business of your choice. And then your second degree is in any foreign language of your choice with that. So it helps make you very marketable. There are some required incentives there, but they have 100% job placement amongst graduates from that program. So definitely a good return on your investment there. And lastly, is not necessarily a degree program, but it's just something we like to mention. So an entrepreneurship center on campus. So we actually are number 6 in the entire globe for entrepreneurship research. And so we tell students, if you have an idea, pack your stuff up, come to Mississippi State and come check it out here. So if you've ever seen Shark Tank, it's very similar to that. We have this facility built on campus where students can kind of get together and like take advantage of resources like a computer lab and basically a desk space so that they can keep their idea all centralized in one spot and conduct their research there. And then they present the idea similar to Shark Tank, but we call it Dog Tank because we're the Bulldogs. And so the university will then, you pitch your idea. They actually give you whatever capital needed. It's like, I think it's about $5,000 to start up your company, but they ask for 0% return. So we have a lot of students on our campus who do have their own businesses that were supported and started by the college, and they have moved forward since then. So it's a really cool opportunity. There are some ideas that have been a product of Mississippi State, which is why we think we have tried to act as like a hosting site for entrepreneurship. And so one of the things, if you have an iPhone or any type of Google Home, anything that has the ability of technology to speak back to you, that's actually a product of an electrical engineering student here at Mississippi State. So pretty cool. We don't understand why they don't understand the Southern accent sometimes, but it happens. So you think if someone from here invented it, they would have done a little better with that. But in addition to that, there's just a lot of opportunities for students to get involved. You do not have to be a College of Business student to take advantage of that opportunity. Any student from any academic college on campus can participate. So just something that kind of sets us apart from others. Next, we have a College of Education. So if you're interested in being an educator in any capacity of the word, so primary, secondary, music, or special education, we definitely encourage students to pursue that. We actually kind of restructured our program recently. In past years, students would complete a practicum that very last semester of school, and they were realizing maybe I don't want to be with kindergartners all day, or maybe high schoolers are rude and they talk back. And so we
No, that's not true.
so we actually give them the opportunity to do their practicum in their sophomore year, so that it gives them some flex in built time to switch to either, they can go to kindergarten or they can go to secondary, or even it's enough time flex in or built in flexibility that they can switch altogether without putting them too far behind. Also in that academic college, if you have anyone that's interested in becoming a physical therapist or occupational therapist, we have a kinesiology program that does have a smashing success rate within the state of Mississippi. So we tell students, if that's kind of what your insight is, definitely encourage you to do that. They have a lot of hands-on things that allow them the opportunities to give them that competitive advantage. We actually are the only institution right now that we know of that has a junior high that is being built on their campus, so that our educational students can take advantage of that opportunity to where they can see a live classroom in real time. So the college class happens on one side of the mirrored glass and the kindergarten class is happening on the other, so that in real time the professor can provide real feedback and instruction on some of the situations at hand. So that kind of gives you a synopsis about our College of Education. We also have a College of Engineering, that hence the mechanical part of Mississippi A&M, our original name. And so we are heavily engineering based here at Mississippi State. We have pretty much anything you can think of in terms of engineering, everything from aerospace, aeronautics, biomedical, chemical, computer, mechanical, petroleum, the list goes on and on. And I can send some follow-up information that gives you a list of all the different majors and things like that afterward. But in terms of engineering, we tell students all the time, we definitely encourage co-ops and internships. Please hear me when I say we recommend, we don't require. But we tell students that 93% of our students who go through a co-op have a job before they walk across the stage at graduation. So we definitely encourage students to do that. If you want to go back to Ohio, if you want to go back to Connecticut, or, if you want to go to Montana or stay in Mississippi, wherever it is, they have a networking circle that they can place these students at, just depending on their desired location. We always encourage students, they're very heavily research-based. We are a top 100 Carnegie research institution, so that we spend about $350 million a year in research. And a lot of that is due to our engineering, Bagley College of Engineering. Some of the projects they work on is like the eco car. It encompasses all different types of engineering students and programs, to where they have stripped a 2017 Subaru down to its structure, rebuilt it, and it gets 118 miles per gallon. So I keep asking when it's going to hit the market, because I will purchase that. But there are a lot of different opportunities such as that. We're the lead university in unmanned aircraft systems, so anything drone. We have that research opportunity here for students firsthand. The FAA has cleared us as the lead research institution. I like to tell students it's because we have a lot of land. Obviously, it's a little bit more than that, but there is a lot of opportunity for students to have that hands-on experience in research. We do have a College of Forest Resources here on campus. And so if you have students that are interested in wildlife or love being outdoors, never really inside on their classrooms, we have anything from forestry, conservation, wildlife, fisheries, sustainable bioproducts, a lot of different majors within that academic college. And one of the things I like to tell students about from the research perspective here, we are actually a key partner with IKEA. If you have any IKEA in your furniture in your home or your apartment, you're welcome. So we actually do all of their sustainable bioproducts testing. And so that's something that our students have firsthand experience on as well. So it's pretty cool just to kind of see that when I'm walking through IKEA, I'm like, wow, I may have had a part of this. No, I'm just kidding.
You can take it.
That's right. I'll take it anyway. But so there is some opportunity, again, for College of Forest Resources. They actually have 100% job placement as well. It's a very small academic college, so your professors definitely know your first and last name, and they're definitely in your corner to get you successful in the job market and connecting you there after. We also have a College of Veterinary Medicine. So if you have any students interested in pursuing veterinary medicine, there's only like 30 vet schools in the entire nation, which I wasn't aware of until I started in this position. And it's very competitive to get into, almost more competitive than medical school. So I'm learning because a lot of these programs take 50 students, and
Mhm.
there's a lot less of them, and patients can't talk to you. So, but within our College of Veterinary Medicine, we do have some great opportunities for students. They accept about 50 students per year into the DMV program. And so what that looks like is ours is kind of different and structured differently than a lot of other institutions. Most institutions have a 3-1. We have a 2-2. And what I mean by that is, like, most institutions will have a 3 years of academic coursework that the students have to complete, and 1 year of hands-on, like, surgical experience and different things like that. So our students do 2 years of academic coursework and then 2 years of like hands-on surgeries and experiences and stuff like that. So our students are kind of at the forefront of the job market whenever they graduate. And so that's kind of gives them that competitive edge once they hit the job market. You definitely can tell who the second year vet students are. They all have circles under their eyes. No, I'm kidding. But in addition to that, we've recently, over the past 3 years is when we started the program, we have an early entry vet program. So if you have any students really passionate and know that they want to be a vet, which I try to tell my students, if you want to be a vet from the get-go, but they can apply to vet school as early as their senior year of high school. And what it does is it gives you admission to the DVM program so that you can then basically secure your spot, and you only have to maintain a certain GPA throughout your time as your undergraduate. And you'll start your 4th year, so your senior year of college, you'll actually start the DVM program. So it takes it from, talk about scholarships, it takes it from 8 years to 7. So it does give you some advantage there. We do have an honors program here on campus as well. So students interested in that, there is a supplemental application that students complete to be considered for that opportunity, unless they have a high test score of, we say, a 30 ACT and the equivalent SAT. If they get admitted to the university and they meet those credentials with test scores and have a 3.75 GPA or higher, weighted or unweighted, they receive an automatic invitation to join. So students might be curious why to join the Honors College, what's the rah-rah of it all. And we like to tell students it gives you the opportunity to access more research opportunities. And so we have some students that have been interested in going into postgraduate programs that we've produced Goldwater Scholars, a Gates Cambridge Scholar, we've had a Rhodes Scholar. So there are a lot of different opportunities for students to get involved, make those network connections, and be considered for some of those prestigious awards. And so we tell students all the time, just take advantage of the opportunity and explore it if you are interested.
So for clarification, Grant, if they're not in that automatic invitation, is there an application as part of their application for admission, or it's a subsequent afterwards?
It's subsequent afterwards. So once they receive admission to the university, they will then gain access to a login portal, and they'll see the application for the Honors College there.
Got it. Okay.
And it's super simple to apply. And we don't, if a student doesn't meet a certain test score or have a certain test score, it's not a make or break. We encourage students, it's a very holistic review. So if you have about a 26 ACT or higher in the equivalent SAT, we encourage you to go ahead and apply, because they're going to look at you holistically and make a decision based off of every component that's submitted. And it just asks for that supplemental application. There's an essay and 3 letters of recommendation. Super simple.
Got it. Thank you.
So a lot of people are kind of curious, where is Mississippi State? So we are located in Starkville, Mississippi, that lovely little star you'll see on your screen. And a lot of people ask, okay, so what do you do? And where are you? So we are most definitely a rural college town. So you are not in an urban area by all means, but it's a very historic area. And so fun fact for you, if you're ever in a trivia session, Starkville, Mississippi was actually one of the first urbanized areas of the United States of America. So still kind of looks that way. No, I'm just kidding. They've revamped it a little bit, slapped some new paint on it. It's great. But the community of Starkville has really taken in Mississippi State University, and they do a great job, the community has, of getting students engaged and involved. And so there's a lot of opportunities for students to build a sense of community, especially since I work with students that are further away from Mississippi. I've never had a student that hasn't come to Mississippi State and loved it. And so that's why we tell students to come visit before you make any type of decision, because we want you to know where you're coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've had people that have said, no way, Jose. And we've had people that say, wow, this is amazing. And so it's all about the feel and the fit. And so we tell students to definitely make that campus visit, which we are conducting right now, but we also have virtual options as well. And so we can talk about that too as we go forth. But great sense of community. We are part of the Southeastern Conference, so athletics are a big deal for students to get involved with. So you will always have something to do, so don't ever think that you won't. So kind of if you have a student that is interested in Mississippi State, this kind of gives you some general information about that. We have a institutional application, and they can apply through Common App and Coalition as well. Super simple. We don't necessarily read apps. We actually just have a process flow. We have rolling admissions, so your students can apply throughout the year. We have students that our first day of class was Monday, and they're applying last week. So if students are interested, please come on. We're arms wide open for students. And so just filling out that general application, your high school transcripts, that application fee, and test scores. I know right now that is a very interesting topic, and as far as test optional and what that looks like. So as of right now, our university is not test optional, but we can evaluate a student without a test score. So we are, but we're not, if that's not confusing enough. So you can apply to Mississippi State. We'll review your application. You'll gain admission, which is contingent, but we do have to have a test score as of now before you enroll in the fall. So if that changes, you'll be the first to know. You'll probably know before I will know. So we do a great job of communicating with students and letting them know that. And if you have any transfer students that are interested as well, same exact process, just include that higher ed transcripts with them. So in terms of admissions requirements, you can see these listed here for both Mississippi residents and non-resident students. If you have a 2.5 GPA or higher, or the 20 ACT score, and the equivalent SAT, automatic admission. So you don't really have to stress and worry about the admissions part. I know a lot of students will email me that are interested, because like my territory, like Ohio, DC, different things like that, a lot of them are utilizing the Common App. And so they're like, the essay, different things. I'm like, no, we're super simple. If you cannot apply to us in 15 minutes or less, we're not the school for you. Like, so just to remind your students that it's very, very simple and very quick, and we encourage them just to kind of get that in a little bit early.
And so if someone applied now, how soon would they get a response back?
2 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
So we're usually about a 2-week process in students hearing back. And then as soon as they hear back, we'll let them know the next steps kind of moving forward.
And then what about for those students applying to the different colleges? Are there separate application materials or anything that they need to apply if they're interested in, for example, in the College of Business or the College of Engineering? How does that work?
So there are a few academic colleges that do require supplemental applications, but not the majority is no. Once they apply for admissions, they'll basically put what they were interested in studying, and it'll let them know if they have a supplemental application. The ones off the top of my head that I can think of are architecture requires a supplemental application for a portfolio review, and then also our international business program. So those are just the two that kind of come off the top of my head. Now, in terms of engineering, your students can declare declared engineering if they don't meet certain test score requirements, just because with it being a lot of math and different things like that, they do have to meet a minimum test requirement to be in first year engineering courses their very first semester.
Got it.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so this provides you with a timeline of what you can expect. So our application for admission has already gone live back on October 1st. Again, we do practice rolling admissions, so if students want to apply throughout the year, none of these are necessarily hard deadlines. We just put priority deadlines in there so that students will take action, because that's when they're going to maximize their opportunities for scholarship consideration. So, FAFSA scholarship opens on October 1st. December 1st is kind of the biggest quote unquote deadline that we have. We encourage students that are interested, especially within engineering, to go ahead and apply and gain acceptance and complete that scholarship application by December 1st. Our faculty College of Engineering will review the engineering applications for scholarships on December 2nd, and they will not pull the list again. So we're very competitive in terms of engineering for the Southeast, and so it's a very hard stance on that. So December 1st is about the only real hard deadline that your students probably need to be aware of. March 1st is when students kind of declare. We don't require a deposit. By them registering for orientation is how they quote unquote give us their deposit and tell us that they're planning to enroll, and that's not until March 1st, a little later in the spring. So sorry, I'm having to move our little bubble around.
You're totally fine.
So talking about tuition and kind of what that looks like. So for a lot of your students, you're definitely going to be looking at the non-resident tuition and fees. So we're right at about $24,000 per academic year. And then the room and board is noted with an asterisk because that is a variable cost. That number kind of fluctuates. So the number you see there is it can fluctuate. That's kind of a median. So it depends on the residence hall and the meal plan that the student gets involved with. All incoming freshman students are required to live on campus and required to have a meal plan. So that is reflected here in the total cost that you see. So we're right at about $35,000 a year for your students in total. So that's talking tuition, fees, room, board, meal plan, the whole 9 yards. So we're a great return on your investment. Actually, Forbes magazine, we're a top 100 college for it's like a best buy is what they like to call it. Just because of our career placement rate after graduation and just taking into account the amount of funds that students put into their education.
Yeah, I think it's actually an affordable option. I think when you're looking at especially for non-residents,
Sure.
That's usually the deal breaker for a lot of families. But if they are, like you said, the ROI makes a ton of sense for something like this. Yep.
Absolutely. So one of the things I know that everyone wants to hear a little bit about is scholarships. So this is Jack. This is our lovely bulldog mascot on campus, named after Dak Prescott. If you don't know him, Dallas Cowboys, Mississippi State. So in terms of scholarships, Mississippi State is actually very friendly to non-resident students in terms of scholarships. So that's one of the things that a lot of students have a lot of draw to. And you can see a couple of opportunities just listed on your screen below. We do offer very competitive national merit scholarship opportunities. We have a matrix that's online, and I can send you more information on that of our scholarships based on certain credentials. So certain SAT score, certain GPA, you're going to receive X amount for academic excellence and like a future leader scholarship. They're currently in the process of reviewing some of those and changing some of it just because of everything that's going on. So they're supposed to have those finalized here in the next week or so. So I'll send those to you once they're updated. In addition to that, so we have a non-resident tuition scholarship, and I do have a piece of paper here because it just to give you a little snippet of what to expect. So if you have a student that you're working with, and let's say they have a 1420 on their SAT and a 3.5 GPA, they receive an annual scholarship of $20,500.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
The scholarships bring it, especially very comparable to your in-state options. That was kind of the goal. And so we just like to reward students for their academic merits from high school. And so there's a lot of opportunities. Again, like you see, it's student body president. If you're working with a student and they're student body president, we give them $6,000 just for being student body president.
Wow.
So definitely something just to kind of note there. But the non-resident tuition scholarship is a huge factor that plays into that, the figure like we just spoke of, and different opportunities like Eagle Scout, that kind of stuff. One of the ones I like to hit on is the veterans waiver. So if you have any students that are veterans themselves or are the dependents of veterans, whether they're dependent, whether the veteran is active or retired, they will receive full out-of-state scholarship. So it'll bring it to an in-state tuition cost.
Wow.
So we're not a yellow ribbon school, but we do thank military service members for their sacrifice and stuff like that. So it covers 100% of non-resident tuition. So helps bring it down just a little bit more.
So for the scholarship consideration, is that automatic then when they apply and they submit scores and everything, you just automatically consider them for these?
For the academic excellence, yes, and then for the leadership scholarship, yes, and the non-resident tuition. But the additional scholarships, they have to complete a scholarship application that is that priority deadline of December 1st, and that'll apply you for all departmental scholarship, leadership and service scholarships. So that's how you get some of the student body president and different accolades like that. Um, and then the departmental scholarships. So everything is centralized. Used to, you had to go to different places to find all these scholarships, but now you fill out this one general scholarship application. And then once you've completed that, you will be prompted to the Bagley College of Engineering scholarship application. If you're an engineering student, you submit that, you're done. So definitely encourage students to have that done by December 1st, as we spoke of earlier, just to make sure that they're being considered for the maximum amount of opportunities that they can be.
Right.
Now, if you have a student that does apply later, like we have students a lot that will apply like February, March, and they're like, well, do I still fill out the scholarship application? I'm like, yes, please still fill it out, because they still meet on a weekly basis to review students. And if it's any of my students, we usually get brought into the meetings to go to bat for the students. And so that's why I tell your students, please get to know me and talk with me, just because I've been told to leave meetings before and I love it. So it's fantastic. I'm always in the court of the student.
Awesome.
We have some different ways to visit, as you can see here. And I know I want to keep us a little brief, but this shows you just some different ways to do that. We have the campus visits where you can go in person. You can do a virtual tour. We have different opportunities for students to come for like preview days if they want to get a more holistic view of the campus, because the campus visit's more tailored to that student and what they're interested in studying. And all of these will probably be offered in a virtual format as well, just because of everything kind of happening. So hopefully that gives you and your students some insight there. And this is my contact information. So if you have any students that are interested, please feel free to share my information with them. I'm always here to answer questions. If a student, I've had plenty of students say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not coming to Mississippi State. I'm like, fantastic. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help see if it's the best fit or not the best fit. And then there's a QR code down here. If you have students that are interested, they can just snap that and it gives us their information, just to start reaching out and start sending them some information on Mississippi State in general.
That's great. This has been awesome, Grant. I truly, there's so many great things that you've just shared with me. I feel like I need to just go out and share. I mean, in addition to, even though your campus is rural, it's like, it's its own community. You know, I mean, it feels like just from what you shared with us and from the photos you shared, students could find stuff to do. I mean, you know, being rural doesn't mean nothing to do. And so
Right.
I think, you know, a good thing to make. And the financial piece, wow. I mean, for the number of academic options that you have, it is a really great out-of-state option for our kids. So I love that. I'm happy that I was able to learn more about it. And I also I would say to you, thank you for being so willing to have conversations with students and to be an actual person, you know, and be able to have those one-on-one personal conversations, because for a school the size of Mississippi State, sometimes we think larger schools that it's very impersonal. So this is a really great entryway for them to understand that even though it's a big school, it doesn't equate to an impersonal experience. So
Right.
I love that. Thank you for that offer too. Well, thank you for spending the time and sharing so much. And anybody watching, if you have questions about anything, don't hesitate to reach out and get online and look. And I'm sure you'll be able to find some other really wonderful imagery, but also do some of the virtual tours and those kinds of things to learn more. So thanks, Grant. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.